Welcome to the Savvy Spirit Podcast. I'm Sharon Moore, your host and creator of the Savvy Spirit Entrepreneur Program. This podcast features conscious women entrepreneurs whose businesses are built on their unique gifts and are making the world a better place. You're going to learn about their journeys, their courage, their resilience, and their truth. So enjoy the show, feel the love, and get inspired. Welcome back, everybody. So today we are going to be spending time with Lindsay Gordon. Lindsay is a career coach, but not just any career coach. She's a career coach specifically for the analytically minded folks amongst us. So if you are an analytically minded person and you're in a job that is ill-fitted and crushing your soul, Lindsay is going to take you from that place of stuck and into a place of inspired. So Lindsay, the career coach that changes the lives of the analytically minded, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
So tell me, I got to ask probably what everybody asks first, which is, what does it mean to be analytically minded?
Yes, great question. So usually people assume that means that it's people in technology. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's people in technology. But interestingly, I've found that I actually work with people across all different spectrums. So I work with architects, I work with lawyers, I have a design director at a hat company, a literary editor. So I very specifically let people self-select what analytically minded means to them. But to me, it's really somebody who loves spreadsheets and lists and procedure and a way to think about a hard question in a framework. So that's kind of how I think about it.
That's so interesting because that might be me, even though I would have never said I'm an analytically minded person.
Right.
Do you find that people know that they are analytically minded, or do you have to actually educate your audience?
I find that they know. I find that once they look at my stuff and I'm like, okay, here's the structure of what I do. Session 1, we will do this. Session 2, we will do that. And they're like, oh my gosh, you know what's going to happen in every session and it's all written out. So I think people are already pretty jazzed when they get to me because of kind of the way that I have really detailed what my program is.
And what draws you to help them go into the right job? You know, what about this transition for these people is your work in the world?
Yeah. A big part of that is my own struggle with it. Mm-hmm. So I was working at a company that is the best place to work in the world. And I got a lot of those messages that, you know, you should be grateful to work there and this should be a great fit for everybody. And if you're not happy, it's probably you. And, you know, I really felt that it was actually not a good fit for me, and that was okay. There were a lot of great things about the job. And so I got to a point in my career where I was like, oh my gosh, I need to figure out, you know, what is a good job that's a fit for me? And how do we know the answer to that? Because nobody ever teaches us how to answer that question. And so I think I kind of dug myself out of the hole. And once I got out of the hole, I was like, oh my gosh, if I could help people never get into that situation again, where they're feeling a lot of pressure to be in a certain job, but finding that it's not a good fit for them, that is absolutely what I want to do, is to just help people not have to really experience that, you know, big hole that I felt that I was in.
Wow, you just brought up two things that just resonated so deeply for me. One is, you know, sifting through the messages that we get from the world, like you said, yes. You're at the best place in the world. Hey, oh, it must be you, to actually going inward and identifying, you know what? It might be the best place in the world, but I don't feel like it fits here. And to have the courage to do that. And then what I love is that you did it. And what was the first thing you wanted to do? Help others.
Yep.
How beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you always been, like, you know, the type that likes to help others, or is this new?
Yes, I always have, for sure.
Say that with pride. You don't have to. Yes, I have. No. Yes, I have.
Helping people.
Okay, and then my last question, since you are such an analytically minded person, so how do you do this? How do you take them from stuck to inspired?
Yeah. I like to take them through 5 steps.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is knowing what you love, which I find is actually really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It's much easier to know what we hate out of a job.
Mm-hmm.
So in this stage, we kind of think about how do you know what's important to you? Why do you work? So we write a little bit of a work manifesto of what's important to you about work.
Mm.
We also do look into values. And the way that I do it is have people record all of the big decision points in their life so far and understand what values fueled those decisions. So it's kind of a way of looking at kind of the data of the decisions that you've made in your life so far and kind of pulling your values out of that. Then we go into knowing what you hate, and this is, a little easier.
Easy.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I can make that list.
Yeah. How long do you have?
Yeah. So we kind of look at fulfillment in different areas of career. So things like results, relationships, creative self-expression, career development, and just understand, what's not working there. And then I also have clients track their energy over a 2-week period and think about, okay, what actions are actually giving you energy and what actions are draining your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next step is really making sure people have their confidence back. Because what I find with people who have been kind of crushed in this position is that they start to look at job postings and they're like, oh God, I could never do that. Oh my God, am I even good at what I'm doing now? And just really, loss of confidence. So we make sure we've got that back. So thinking about what environment do you need in order to thrive? What situations were you in the past where you felt like you were on fire, doing all the things that come really easily to you and feel good? Next, we really look into strengths and making sure we're really solid on the story of strengths and how that relates to jobs of the past, what you're doing now, what you want to be doing in the future. And then it's all about just creating possibilities and letting yourself actually kind of explore a couple of avenues of where you think you might want to go. What are the questions that you have there? Who do you want to talk to? And really get into action and exploration mode. So those are kind of the 5 high level steps.
I love it. It is so crystal clear. It's, if I was going to be one of your clients, I know exactly what I'm signing up for.
Right.
You must feel so good after working with people and getting them all the way through to this.
Oh my gosh. I usually come out of the room after I've been on a call and I'm just like jumping around the house like, oh God, I love what I'm doing. This feels so good.
And you know what?
And there were,
Oh, no, go ahead.
yeah. I was just going to say, there have also been 2 clients that I have made cry. Don't worry, in the good way. Because at the end of the 3 months, I give them a little like, here's what it looks like from my side. Because I take notes throughout all of the sessions.
Beautiful.
And so I can bring them back. And I'm like, do you even remember what you said on our first call, like how crushed you were? And with this one woman, I took her through kind of the ups and downs and the points where I really saw her change and get her confidence back. And she just started crying on the final call and was like, gosh, it's so emotional to have somebody else kind of see the progress that I've made and be able to call that out to me, because it's so hard when you're in it. So I've made a couple of people cry, but not in the bad way.
In the best of ways, people, in the best of ways. And, one thing that I love that you said, obviously I've already mentioned the clarity, but one of the first things you said was, we talk about, why do you work? Yeah. Why do you work? What a profound question to pose, instead of just kind of robotically going into this work world, which PS is the best years of our life. We better know why we're doing this.
Yep.
Beautiful. And so now I'm going to actually use that as switching gears into focusing on you and your business. Yeah. So here you are, you're doing beautiful work, you're following your calling, and you're helping people. And, in my entrepreneur program, we talk about 3 of the pillars. And one of them is building a business around your unique gifts, your unique skills, your unique talents. Yeah. And the second one is having universal support. And I'll elaborate in a moment. And the third one is just the straight up business skills. I mean, yes, you're doing your passion. Yes, the universe supports you. And now you're an entrepreneur. So guess what? You have to have some sort of relationship to the business skills, whether you've delegated it all or mastered it. So I want to take a couple minutes to talk to you about each one of those pillars. And And we'll start with the unique gift. So, my question to you and to everybody, and what gets me so excited is, how did you not just identify what your unique gifts are, but how did you get the courage to bring it out to the world?
Yeah. God, that seems like a big thing when you say it that way. I'm like, I mean, I guess I had a lot of courage to do it. It seemed kind of like the logical next step at the time, but no, looking
Uh-huh.
back, there was courage for sure. Um, I think one thing that I've kind of learned about myself in this process is that for some reason, and I don't know why,
Mm-hmm.
I have never really been affected by a lot of external shoulds and the pressures that we feel.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it was, super supportive parents, or I've just always had this intense curiosity of things. And so I've kind of followed a lot of different trails. And, if something doesn't feel good to me, then I'm like, great, on to the next step. So I think that's one thing that I kind of a gift that I want to help clients feel more of, because it comes reasonably easily to me. I'm like, okay, let me kind of share that with other people.
That's so interesting. One, I mean, all my like ding, 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 ding is going off because you said, if it doesn't feel right to me, I just don't do it.
Yeah.
And which to me says, you're tuned in, honey. You know
Yeah.
when it feels right and when it doesn't. And even in the beginning story, you were able to fight like you said, the external messages of, this is the
Yeah.
world's best company to work for. Something must be wrong with you. And you
Yep.
were like, no, it's not the right fit for me.
Yep.
That's courage.
Okay. I
Take it.
accept that.
Yeah, good. She
Thank
accepts
you.
it. Very good.
Yeah.
And how beautiful that that's what you're working with people is. Okay, let's tune in. How does it feel? I love that you said, 2 weeks of tracking your energy, because
Mhm.
sometimes people just don't know how to identify it.
Right. Right. Definitely.
So beautiful. And you're absolutely built your life and your business around your unique gifts. There's no doubt about that. The other thing that I love to talk about is the universal support, because
Yeah.
I don't know if you relate to this, but I have found that we've got our gifts, but we've also got our path and our learning. And
Yep.
sometimes timing isn't always right.
Yep.
And I think that universal piece is key. So, tell us about a time where you went and did something that was unknown, that was uncomfortable, that was scary, terrifying. Didn't, just got all your, I'm terrified. And yet you knew, I have to do this. This is right. I'm supported.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was the beginning of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I was in this 9 to 5 job that wasn't a good fit for me, and I was really definitely crushed. And people kept saying to me, you should be a coach. You should be a coach. And I was like, I literally don't even know what that means. I hope it's a good thing, but I
I
should
don't have
probably
a
go figure
whistle.
out what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I took one class. I was like, okay, I'm going to go find one class, figure out what this thing is. I showed up on the first day after the first, 3 hours, this one class. I was like, oh my gosh, these are my people. Like, I love this. So I accidentally signed up for a 1.5 year long program, basically.
Accidentally, I signed up for a 1.5 year program.
Yeah, as you do. I was like, of course I'm doing this thing. I had
Right.
no idea that's what was going to happen. And, I never had this idea of running, excuse me, running my own business. It was never a dream of mine, never crossed my mind. And towards the end of this program, I had a couple of people reach out to me and say, are you looking for clients yet?
Mm-hmm.
I have referrals to give you.
Wow.
And I tried to push back so hard on these people. I was like, I don't even have my certificate yet. I'm not done with my schooling. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to run my own business, all this kind of stuff. And they were like, great, great. When are we working together?
Oh, I love it. That,
So that feels like one of those big moments of
yeah.
like, I just got spooked when people are like, can you be my coach? And I'm like, I'm not ready for that. So
You literally couldn't, you took the words out. I mean, that is how universal support works. It's like
yeah.
your mind is like, no, 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 I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But you can't deny it.
Yep.
It's coming to you.
Yep.
Beautiful example of that. And
Thank
then,
you.
so now here you are, not just a coach, but a business owner.
Yeah.
So what's that been like for you? Are you the type that feels like you have to know it all? You have to do your own accounting, you have to do your own marketing,
Yep.
database management, PR, etc., or have you delegated it? What's been your experience with the business part?
Yeah, in the beginning, I was very overwhelmed by all of the stuff that needed to happen, especially the filing of business paperwork. I actually put it off for several months in the beginning because I was just like, I don't understand how this is so difficult, and how people get this done. So that was kind of my first experience with it.
Mm-hmm.
After I got over that hump, I spent my first 6 months really trying to learn it all myself and have the struggles and kind of try to learn as much as I could. So I love learning about everything possible, basically. And so I saw this as an opportunity of I went to several free classes that were put on by the SBA, which is, I think is the Small Business Administration,
Mm-hmm.
about accounting, about incorporating, about finding the right clients, and kind of learned enough in all of these different areas for me to understand uh, kind of what I felt like I needed to in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Weirdly, I love the finance side of things.
Why am
So
I not surprised?
I was like, wait, you mean I get to learn how to use QuickBooks?
Lucky you! Yay!
So, totally a normal response. So I do love that side of things.
Yeah.
At this point, I have outsourced some of the things.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely have a kind of tax and accountant guy who I really appreciate. And when I started working with him, I was like, look, I'm somebody who enjoys learning about it. So I don't know a ton right now, but I would love if you could kind of help me understand what you're doing or why I should be making the decisions that I'm making. So that was kind of a really great partnership of being able to outsource, but then still feeling like I'm learning a little bit in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm at a point where I think I'm ready to delegate more. I'm usually on the side of taking on most of the things myself because I do like learning about it and I do like the execution part and I do like the organization of all of it. But now I'm really looking into like, actually, I would love for somebody to help with my marketing and to help me understand, how you do that properly. That's one thing I really struggle with. So yeah, I think there's kind of a balance for me of enjoying a lot of parts of it and then figuring out what it makes sense to delegate at this point.
Yeah, I heard a couple things. One was, yes, there's the natural draw to what is enjoyable to you, and
Yeah.
two was, okay, I'm gonna learn it a little bit, and then once I get the lay of the land, I'm gonna delegate so that I have more time to do my gift, which is connecting and serving this audience.
Right.
So, all right, people are listening. They want some of this analytically minded coaching. They want to feel inspired. They want to get unstuck. How do they get to be a part of your world? Do you have a wait list? Are you taking new clients? Tell us everything. How do they find you?
Yes. Yes. So I am taking new clients. My website is alifeofoptions.com. And I run kind of this very specific 3-month program that takes you through those steps. So if that sounds interesting to you, I would love to do a free 30-minute call to chat with you. I also have been doing workshops. So right now they're local in the Bay Area, and I probably run them every 2 months. And then I'm kind of experimenting with what it might look like to co-host with other awesome women who do something a little different in the career coach space in other cities. I just did an online workshop recently. So there's a cool tool that some friends at Ultra Working built me to kind of help you go through some of the exercises yourself.
Wow.
So I'm going to put that on my website as well. Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah.
So
Are all of these things on your website?
Yes, the workshops are on there, the program is on there, and then I will put kind of the cool spreadsheet that was built for me on there so you can kind of see all of those different things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. And, we got to bring this, as much as I could keep chatting with you for hours. We have to bring the interview to a close. And I want to just allow you or invite you to share some words of wisdom or words of encouragement to our listeners. And whether that be somebody who's in an existing business who wants to take it to the next level, or somebody who wants to dive in and start their business, what would be some words of wisdom that you could share with them?
Yes. One thing, I think if you're kind of interested in getting started and wondering about taking the jump and feeling like maybe there's a big risk in it, what I would say to you is, what are the tiniest ways that you can test out if you would like running your own business, or if you would like changing careers or kind of doing something new, instead of thinking about it as this giant choice that needs to be made and this huge risk that needs to happen all at once? What are the little tiniest ways that you can test it out? So whether that's, practicing with your friends, whether that's running it on the side first, whether that's talking to everyone you know that has done the thing. I think we kind of get told this message of it's a huge risk to do this and you just need to jump in and it's going to be really risky. Whereas actually, I think kind of the opposite, that there are a lot of ways to try it out and not have this huge risk, so that to somebody else, maybe it looks crazy risky for me to have gone and started my own thing, but there were actually a lot of calculated choices that kind of minimized the risk, so that when I did take the big leap, it actually made a lot of sense and I had tested out a lot of pieces of it. So
I love it. Bite-sized pieces. It's kind of that I got a sense, I really got a sense of how you work with your clients right there, which is, give them a bite-sized piece, just do tiny, and then assess, how am I feeling with this tiny bite that I just took? Okay, one more tiny bite. How am I feeling? And then you're just continuing to gather data that you are getting from your own little tiny experience, tiny and manageable experience.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Lindsay Gordon, it has been so nice having you. I'm sure you've inspired our listeners. You've inspired me. I love your story. I felt the cleanliness and the crispiness of how you work with people in such a sensitive part of their lives. So what a gift you're bringing to the world, Lindsay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And to all my listeners, as you know, it is such a gift, such an honor for me to be able to bring inspirational women like Lindsay through your ears to your heart, and ultimately causing you action, which ultimately makes the world a better place. So with that, I am signing off. Good night, good day. We will see you soon. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope you feel inspired and connected and alive. And hey, if you enjoyed the show today, leave us a review. And of course, if you want more, you can find us online at thesavvyspirit.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All right, it is time to say goodbye, my friends. I wish you all a good night, a good morning, a good day, wherever you are on this earth. I wish you well, and I'll see you next week.